The morning rush at Sugar Bloom Bakery is a predictable kind of chaos, the kind I've trained myself to find comfort in. People think running a bakery is all pastel cupcakes and Instagrammable frosting swirls, but the truth is closer to a flour-coated war zone where espresso machines hiss like irritated snakes and customers debate the ethics of gluten the way philosophers once debated the universe. And yet, there's something about the rhythm of it, mix, bake, frost, smile, that keeps my mind steady, or at least it used to. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm Celeste Harper, 43, owner, head baker, unofficial therapist to half the town, and, according to recent gossip, the woman whose husband got hotter after 40. That last title I owe entirely to Adrian, my spouse of 12 years, and recently self-declared connoisseur of beard oil, fitted suits, and late-night client mentorship. If sarcasm had volume levels, mine would currently be set to hurricane. The bell over the bakery door jingles, announcing the entrance of a cluster of local moms in coordinated workout outfits. I've started calling them the Lycra panel, because every conversation among them sounds like it requires a committee vote. "Morning, Celeste," sings Heather, the ringleader. "Those maple pecan scones still warm?" "Hotter than a midlife crisis," I say, sliding the tray toward her. She laughs, assuming I'm joking. I'm not. I'm 3 cappuccinos into the shift when Mia, my 20-something barista with lavender hair and the observational skills of a trained spy, leans toward me over the counter. "You know your husband just walked by the window, right? And he's wearing whatever that is." She gestures with her straw. I glance up and spot Adrian through the glass. Fresh suit, fresh trim, and a confidence that suggests he just discovered the secret to eternal youth, and it comes in monthly subscription boxes. I used to find that confidence attractive. Now it feels like I'm watching a man audition for a life he hasn't earned. He doesn't come in, of course. He just adjusts his cufflinks, checks his reflection in the window, and keeps walking like the street is his personal runway. Mia and I exchange a look. "He showered this morning," I say. "You say that like it's suspicious," she replies, wiping a milk nozzle. "It is. He started showering before the gym. Who showers before they go somewhere specifically designed to make them smell like regret?" Mia snorts. "Maybe he's meeting someone who prefers him pre-sweat." I raise an eyebrow. If I find out that someone's name ends in an A and her job includes the word wellness, I'm not responsible for what I put in her smoothie. The truth is, I felt something shifting for months. Not the dramatic cinematic kind, where the wife walks in on her husband rolling around with someone on a marble countertop. No, ours is the subtle, painfully polite form of betrayal that smells faintly of sandalwood beard balm and new cologne sample strips. He started with small changes, switching from regular razors to single-origin, handcrafted titanium grooming blades. Buying shirts tailored so tightly, I started to suspect he wanted to be shrink-wrapped, and using words like optimization during dinner. Then came the phone face down on the table, the silent notifications, the sudden need for after-hours strategy calls, and the worst sign of all, the gym membership he actually uses. When we met, Adrian considered light stretching the same as cardio. Now he casually references protein macros while meal prepping quinoa. A man does not simply evolve like that at 45 without external motivation. And trust me, I'm not it. Around noon, the bakery quiets enough for me to sit with a coffee and inhale a croissant that didn't meet display standards. One of the perks of owning the place is eating the irregular pastries myself, like a queen dining on loyal but slightly lopsided subjects. My phone buzzes. A calendar reminder, anniversary dinner, 7 p.m., La Fontaine. Right, tonight is our 12th anniversary. Nothing says eternal love like a reservation he made 5 minutes before sending me the confirmation, as if Google Calendar and romance are interchangeable. I stare at the reminder and try to feel something warm. Instead, what I feel is a little like biting into a cupcake and finding the center hollow. By late afternoon, the town gossip machine is in full swing. PTA moms, real estate agents, and yoga mat enthusiasts flow in and out of Sugar Bloom, dropping crumbs of conversation as they go. Did you hear Adrian is mentoring a young investor? He's been spotted at that new cocktail bar, without Celeste. I heard she's totally fine with it. They're modern like that. Modern, sure. Next, someone will claim we're consciously uncoupling, like celebrities who still share a publicist. Mia leans over again. You okay? People are talking weird today. I always know it's bad when they lower their voices. Whispering is just gossip with a side of guilt. You want me to accidentally steam a message into someone's latte? I could write "mind your business" in foam. I grin. Tempting. But no, I'll let them build their theories. It keeps them from arguing about gluten. By closing time, my mood is neutral enough to function. I head home to get ready, telling myself that maybe, just maybe, the anniversary dinner will be a turning point. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe he'll apologize. Maybe he'll explain the Ava who keeps tagging him in motivational fitness quotes on social media. Yes, I checked. I'm married, not oblivious. La Fontaine is one of those restaurants where the lighting is low, the menus don't list prices, and the waiters speak in tones that suggest they meditate before work. Adrian picked it because it projects sophistication. I picked my outfit because it has pockets and emotional armor costs extra. He greets me at the table with a kiss on the cheek, like I'm a visiting aunt, not his spouse. I smile anyway. Happy 12 years, he says, lifting a glass. Happy 12, I echo. We order. He talks about market trends and next quarter opportunities. I nod at the right moments, the same way I do when someone explains cryptocurrency. Then it happens. His phone lights up on the table. Screen up. Her contact name, Ava Pilates. Emoji, a red heart. Preview. Counting the minutes till you're back in my bed. There are moments in life that crack through your chest with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. This isn't one of them. This is worse. It's quiet, clean, and confirming. Like watching a window fog you didn't realize had been clear all along. Adrian doesn't notice the message. He's too focused on explaining compound interest to a woman who pays people in cupcakes. But I notice. I tilt the screen slightly, as if admiring the polished surface, and I smile right at it. He doesn't even flinch. That's when I know something important. I'm not devastated. I'm not broken. I am, unexpectedly, calm. The kind of calm that could organize a binder or dismantle a life. I raise my glass. Excuse me a moment, I say sweetly. Sure, he replies, still monologuing about annual yield curves. I walk, not to cry, not to scream, but to the restroom hallway. I stand there, perfectly still, like a chess piece that just realized it's been a queen this entire time. Then I take out my phone. First, I log into our joint savings. $40,000. Co-owned, but primarily under my account authorization, because Adrian insisted, "You're better with numbers," which was adorable, and also, apparently, tactical sabotage on his part. I transfer every cent into my bakery account. Second, I open my email and write to our accountant. Hi, Paul. Flagging some unreported cash gifts on Adrian's side. Please review. Might be relevant for tax season. Nothing accusatory, just inquisitive. Accountants love inquisitive. Third, I open the banking app. Adrian thinks I don't know he is linked to a luxury apartment lease, signed without my knowledge, with monthly rent equal to a year's worth of almond flour. I schedule a cancellation notice under his name. Fourth, I compose a text to Ava Pilates. I attach a PDF of the apartment lease. Subject line, hope he told you you're covering half. Fifth, I breathe. When I return to the table, Adrian is on his second glass of wine, blissfully unaware that the floor beneath his designer loafers is now soap slick. You look radiant, he says. I feel efficient, I reply. He laughs, thinking it's a flirt. It's not. When the bill arrives, I hand the waiter Adrian's card. Everything, including the bottle, I say. The gentleman is still browsing other menus tonight. The waiter smiles in a way that suggests he caught the hint. I stand. Adrian blinks. You're leaving? Yes. Enjoy dessert. He follows me outside, voice rising. Celeste, wait. This isn't what you think. He reaches for my arm. A couple nearby sees the gesture, phones in hand, already recording. Suburbia loves nothing more than scandal on a Saturday night. I lean in close and whisper, Smile, darling. You're trending before dessert. Then I walk away. And the thing is, my shoes don't even click. They glide. Adrian calls me twice before I reach the car. I let both ring through because nothing says I understand boundaries, like the silence he gave me for months, flipped back at him with a bow on top. It isn't theatrical. It's practical. I'm not going to argue in front of La Fontaine's valet stand, where Heather from PTA might be stashing oysters and gossip for dessert. I unlock my hatchback, the opposite of his meticulously detailed sedan, and slide into the driver's seat. The interior smells like vanilla and cinnamon from a morning delivery, a portable alibi for all of life's awkward moments. I check my phone one more time. Transfer confirmed, email sent, rent cancellation scheduled, message to Ava delivered with a neat read receipt. I add a calendar reminder to follow up with our accountant on Monday. Then I exhale, the kind of slow-release yoga instructors pretend will fix your entire life. It won't, but tonight it's holding me together. The passenger door opens. Adrian slips in like he belongs there. Don't do this, he says. Calm voice, salesman charm set to medium-high. He's always been good at reasonable. Do what exactly? I fold my hands around the steering wheel. Drive home? Maintain oxygen? You're overreacting. Ah, I say, the word every woman wants to hear right after an anniversary toast. His jaw shifts. It's not what you think. Your phone says it is. That message was taken out of context. I didn't know my bed had context, I say. Does it come with footnotes? A glossary? He rubs his forehead, a gesture that used to translate to, I'm tired, give me grace. Now it reads, I'm cornered, let me find an exit. Look, he says, Ava is a wellness consultant for a client. There's a lot of crossover between fitness and finance now. It's networking. I bet it is. You're making something huge out of nothing. Then you won't mind that I moved our savings, I say. That should be nothing too. His head snaps toward me. You did what? 40,000. Right into the bakery's operating account. I'm the primary. You know that because you told me to be better with numbers. Turns out, I'm excellent. Celeste, he says, tight, put it back. Sure, I say, turning the key. Right after I get a back rub from the Statue of Liberty. He grabs for the gear shift, and for a second I think he'll try to force the car into park, but he stops himself. Through the windshield, I notice two people outside pretending not to watch. Suburbia's favorite show is neighbors behaving poorly. We're prime time tonight. You're being petty, he says. I'm being proactive, I correct. You like that word. It fits. Can we talk inside, not here? There's a luxury apartment you can take your conversations to, I say, checking the mirrors. Unless the rent notices ruin the mood. His face drains of color. What apartment? The one with the marble countertops and the no shoes inside vanity mat, I say. The one leased under your name, paid from an account you thought I wouldn't see. The one that apparently doubles as a spin studio and morale booster. You went through my car. You left a paper trail in your glove box. I pick up after you. Occupational hazard. Also, you have very boring taste in scented hand wipes. He stares at me, baffled by a world where I am not the supportive spouse, nodding through his narrative. I let the engine idle. Get out, I say. Let's not do this, he says. You're angry. No, I say, I'm structured. I put the car in reverse. He watches my hands like I'm holding a detonator. I'm not. I'm holding the wheel of my own life, which is a similar skill set. Get out, I repeat. He doesn't, so I back out anyway, slowly, carefully, waiting him out like a stubborn teenager. At the edge of the lot, he finally yanks the door open and steps into the wash of restaurant light, where the valet pretends to find something compelling about a potted plant. I roll down the window. Adrian, I say, check your banking app, then check your messages, then call your client. And when you're done, call a rideshare. Because you're not coming home with me. He leans in, voice low. You're making a mistake. Possible, I say, but at least it'll be original. Can you say the same? I pull away before he can answer. In the rear view, he stands with his hands on his hips, looking both furious and confused, like a man who just discovered his favorite shirt shrank in the wash, even though he put it on that gentle cycle he swore by. I drive without music, just the hum of tires and the steady thought that I have entered a new chapter. Not the one where I torch everything. The one where I collect, measure, and plate each piece with the precision of a tasting menu. At a red light, my phone pings. A text from an unknown number. You didn't have to drag me into this. Ava, I say to the quiet car, tasting the name like something expired in the back of a fridge. I type back, I didn't. He did. Hope he mentioned the lease. 3 thumping dots. Then, you're jealous. He said you're controlling. He said I'm organized, I reply. Easy to mix those up when you're used to chaos. You can't scare me, she sends. Good, I tap. Fear isn't productive. Budgets are. Then I attach the lease again and write, this is called a consequence. The dots blink, vanish, blink again. Nothing. I slide the phone face down on the seat, not because I'm hiding, but because I'm done inviting other people's chaos to the party. Home is quiet, that particular hush of a house that has been waiting to become a stage. I walk through rooms we decorated together, past the photo from a beach trip where we wore matching bucket hats as a joke. We look happy. Maybe we were. Or maybe we just liked the joke. I pack a small overnight bag with autopilot efficiency, toothbrush, change of clothes, a worn-out sweatshirt with the bakery logo. I walk to the plant Adrian forgets exists. I leave a note on the kitchen table. Short, tidy, free of drama. Staying at the bakery loft tonight. Need space. You should too. C. No accusations, no plea. Just a boundary written in pen. At Sugar Bloom, the nightlights make the display cases look like priceless artifacts. In a way, they are. Hours of mixing and folding and waiting for yeast to do its quiet magic. I climb the back stairs to the tiny loft I keep for early mornings and late shipments. It's little more than a couch, a coffee maker, and a window that looks over Main Street. But it's mine. I don't sleep much. Not out of misery, just planning. My mind stacks to-do lists the way I stack cookie sheets. In the morning, I'll change the bakery passwords, review business insurance, double-check the transfer cleared, and draft an announcement for the new Red Flags pastry line I've been threatening to launch ever since a regular joked that croissants can be cautionary tales. Around dawn, I finally drift into a light fog of dreams where I'm piping frosting onto a moving train, keeping balance even as the track curves. When I wake to the bakery's old delivery bell, I'm strangely steady. Not triumphant, not crushed, just ready. Mia shows up at 6, bleary but alert, holding a thermos big enough to qualify as a weapon if coffee could file paperwork. She takes one look at me. You didn't go home? Nope. Do I need to call someone, like a lawyer or a tailor, to let out those suits because stress eats fabric? Not yet, I say, but maybe keep your phone charged. We start in on the morning prep. Flour dusts the air, butter softens, mixers hum. I've always loved this part, the transformation of raw ingredients into something that makes people pause and smile without thinking too hard about why. It's a lesson I learned early. Comfort can be engineered. It's just chemistry and heat. At 8, my phone lights up with a message from our accountant, Paul. Got your note. Let's meet Monday. Also, I've noticed some odd withdrawals from a personal account. We'll bring it all. I reply, thank you. Monday works. By 9, the first wave of regulars flows in. I paste on my smile, except it's not pasted. It's real, and that surprises me. Morning, Heather, I say. The glazes turned out especially pretty today, like manicure inspiration. She leans on the counter. I ran into Adrian last night. He looked flustered. Shocking, I say. He rarely looks anything less than curated. He said you rushed out of dinner. I did. My salad was judgmental and I couldn't take it anymore. Her eyes widen. Is everything okay? It will be. I select a box of scones and slide them toward her. Anything else? She hesitates, then lowers her voice. You know the Pilates girl? People are saying... I know exactly what people are saying. I cut in gently. Please enjoy your scones. By 10, the rumour mill has warmed to the topic like it's a potluck. I can feel the curiosity pressing in through the glass, but the bakery has always been my shield. When you hand someone a warm cookie, they usually put down their pitchfork for at least a minute. It isn't enough for Denise Harper, though. Adrian's sister arrives at 10:30, wearing a jacket with shoulder pads sharp enough to slice a croissant, hair sprayed into a helmet that says, I can resist hurricanes and common sense. Denise has never liked me. She prefers partners who smile and nod and answer to their husband's name at parties. I never learned that trick. Celeste, she says, voice dipped in faux concern. I heard about last night. I wanted to check on you. Sweet, I say. Would you like to check on our seasonal pumpkin loaf while you're here? It's selling fast. She makes a face like pumpkin spice personally offended her. Adrian is upset. He said you caused a scene. I left a restaurant, I say. If that's a scene, we need to get out more. You moved money, she continues in a stage whisper. That's marital money. It's co-owned money, I correct. Moved into a co-owned business account that pays our mortgage. You're welcome. She leans closer. You know how this looks, right? It looks like you're trying to... Protect myself, I offer. Yes, that's accurate. You're overreacting. Family trait, I say, and ring up the next customer. Denise, I'm in the middle of a rush. If you'd like to make a purchase, I'm delighted. If you'd like to give a lecture, take a number, and maybe try the library. Her lips compress. Adrian is under a lot of stress at work. Your behavior isn't helping. His stress has a first name and a yoga mat, I say lightly. He can ask it for a guided breathing exercise. Everyone will talk. They already do. I slide a bag of cookies to a waiting teenager who looks like she's witnessing a soap opera live. I don't operate my life based on the town forum. Denise huffs, defeated by my refusal to play her game. She marches out with the bell announcing her exit like a snare drum. Mia appears at my shoulder with a cappuccino. You handled that like a bouncer at a book club. I've learned that if you speak softly enough, people have to lean in to hear your boundary. That makes them too tired to argue. Around noon, the bakery quiets to a gentle murmur. That's when Ava walks in. She's younger than me by at least 15 years, with that effortless athleisure glow that says, I drink water and haven't had to floss a shared mortgage out of my teeth. She wears a sleek black jacket, leggings, and a stare meant to intimidate. Hi, she says, coming to the counter like a challenger entering a ring. You must be Celeste. Usually, I say, sliding a tray of macarons into view. Care for a pastry? I don't do sugar, she says, with the same tone someone might use to reject a shady loan. Congratulations, I say. It's addictive. Her gaze flicks over my apron, my hair, my hands. You didn't have to humiliate me. I didn't, I say, because facts matter. Sending a document isn't public. You texted me a lease. And a warning. I texted you a responsibility. The warning was a courtesy. You're jealous, she says. He said, I know what he said. He's good at saying things. She blinks, thrown off by my calm. You're not angry. I'm situationally focused, I say. Anger is a luxury. I have payroll. She leans in, lowering her voice. Adrian cares about me. Then he'll care about your half of the rent, I say, and smile the way a hostess smiles when the table is about to be turned over. Would you like to order anything, or are we just exchanging greetings? Her jaw tightens. You think you're above this? I think I like butter, I say. It's simple. Something flashes in her eyes. She flicks her gaze toward the espresso machine, then back to me. Your place is cute, she says. I'd hate for any of this to affect it. The comment is vague enough to pass as casual, pointed enough to feel like a pebble against a window. Mia steps forward, shoulders squared. We reserve the right to refuse service, she says. It's on the sign. Ava's lips curve. I'm not asking for service. Then why are you here? I ask. To see what kind of competition I have, she says, chin lifted. I laugh softly. Ava, honey, I'm not your rival. I'm the woman who knows how this ends, and I'm choosing the route with less paperwork. She flushes. You're not as clever as you think. You're not as protected as you think, I say back, equally pleasant. The silence stretches. For a second, the bakery holds its breath. Then, Ava reaches for the coffee carafe Mia just brewed and tips it slightly toward the counter. Pure impulse, maybe. Or a test. My hand moves before my brain authorizes it. I catch the carafe, pivot, and the liquid sloshes harmlessly into a waiting tray. A splash arcs toward Ava's designer jacket anyway. A Rorschach of steamed caffeine on black fabric. She gasps, stepping back. You did that on purpose. You jostled, I say. I caught. Gravity is a team sport. There's a beat where we both stand there, two women trying to decide if we're going to escalate into full kitchen theater. I choose simple. I set down the carafe, come around the counter, and stop at a polite distance. Then, calmly and without flourish, I raise my hand and give her a single sharp smack to the cheek. Not hard enough to leave a mark, just enough to freeze the room. The sound is modest, the message crystal. Consider that a boundary, I say. Stay out of my store. Stay out of my messages. Tell Adrian to handle his own. I won't ask twice. Her mouth opens. No words happen. She backs up, cheeks flaming. You're crazy, she mutters, clutching her bag, and strides out as the bell clatters a little too loudly. Mia exhales. That was controlled. I practiced on scones, I say, palm steady. Leave a small impression, don't ruin the crumb. We reset the counter. The regulars pretend nothing happened, but the energy in the room is charged like a storm decided to window shop. A few minutes later, my phone vibrates. A text from Adrian. We need to talk. Ava said you assaulted her. I defended my space, I type. Keep her away from my business. Handle your own mess. 3 dots. Then, you're going to regret this. I stare at the screen, at the words he chose, threat dressed up as wisdom, and feel something in me settle into place. Regret is not the thing that prowls outside my door. Regret is the word people use when they were careless and now need a story. By late afternoon, the bakery returns to rhythm. People still stare a little longer than usual. A man in a suit lingers over his latte, notepad open like he's writing a novel called The Woman Who Wouldn't Budge. Fine, let them write. I'm busy living a plot twist. I close early, claiming inventory. Really, I want the quiet. I wipe the counters until the surfaces shine. I label tomorrow's prep trays. I throw out a wilted bouquet someone sent last week with a card that said, to sweet success in a font that tried too hard. Then, I lock the door and go out the alley entrance to the parking lot. Adrian is waiting by my car. He steps out of the shadows like he's in a noir movie, which is fitting because he looks exhausted and expensive. "We're not doing this," he says. "We are," I say. "We're doing it calmly." Or not at all. "You humiliated me. You humiliated her. You think I won't respond?" "Respond however you want," I say, keeping my voice even. "But stay out of my business." "Your business is mine." "Half," I say, which means I get a say in who enters the kitchen. "Spoiler, not your wellness consultant." He takes a step closer. "You stole our money." "I moved money we both own into an account that pays our shared bills. If you want to make a case otherwise, be my guest. But remember, your apartment is now a shared topic." "Don't bring that up here," he snaps, glancing around like the alley has ears. "The alley has eyes," I say, nodding toward the security camera above my door. Red light on. Recording. Legal. Always. Smile. His shoulders rise and fall, temper barely leashed. "I'm trying to keep this civil." "Then start," I say. For a moment, we stand in a stalemate that tastes like old arguments reheated and served on new plates. He exhales through his nose and shifts tactics. "I made a mistake," he says. "A small one. You're blowing it up." "Small?" I ask. "You escorted a side project through our marriage like it was your intern. You rented a second address for it. You lied with the confidence of a man who believes he'll never be audited by life." He flinches at the word audited. He's a financial planner. He knows exactly what that implies. "You're cruel," he says. "I'm precise." He steps in again, close enough that I can smell his cologne, the one marketed with words like assertive and modern. Once, that scent lived on my pillow after he left for work and made me smile. Now it smells like a sales pitch I didn't agree to. "Get out of my way," I say. He doesn't move. "You're throwing away 12 years. "No," I say. "You rolled them up and shelved them next to your beard oil." I'm just acknowledging the inventory. For a second, I think he'll plant himself there until I cave. Instead, he rakes a hand through his hair, turns, and kicks the tire of my hatchback. Not hard enough to harm it, just hard enough to make a statement. I'm frustrated and still a teenager inside a suit. "Great," I say. "Now the car's involved." He walks off toward the street, hands in his pockets like he's someone's melancholy hero. I watch him go, then unlock my door and climb in. Before I pull out, I take a can of chalk marker from the glove compartment, left over from a summer sidewalk promotion, and step back out. On the hood of his sedan, parked 2 spaces down, I write in large, harmless letters, "Market closed." It wipes off with water. I'm not out to vandalize. I'm out to send messages in fonts he understands. I drive a circuit through the neighborhood before heading back to the bakery loft. The streetlights glow steady, front lawns trimmed like they're competing for a trophy. Behind the glass, families move through evening rituals. Homework, pasta, TV. Somewhere, a couple is dancing in socks. Somewhere else, a fight whispers through walls. Our town is a diorama with moving parts, carefully arranged, perfectly staged. I love it, and I know exactly how false it can be, both at once. Back upstairs, I make tea and sit on the windowsill, watching Main Street slip into night. My phone buzzes with messages I don't open. Friends with, "Are you okay?" A neighbor with, "I saw something." A number I don't recognize, that's probably an opinion dressed as concern. I mute the thread and draft a post for the bakery's social page. New drop Monday, red flags pastry line. For those who prefer warning signs baked fresh. Flavors, cherry gaslight, vanilla boundary, lemon receipt. Pre-orders tomorrow. It's petty and perfect and, most importantly, profitable. Revenge is a dish best served with frosting. No one gets hurt, but everyone talks. I set alarms for the morning, triple-check the door lock, and curl up on the couch with a blanket that still smells faintly of sugar. Tomorrow will be brisk and complicated. The town will pick teams. Denise will spin, and Adrian will plot, and Ava will nurse a stain and a sulk. I will bake. I will meet with an accountant on Monday, and a lawyer if the week demands it. I will keep my hand steady and my goals simple. As I close my eyes, I see his phone light up again in my memory, that tiny red heart pulsing like a neon sign in a dark bar. The image should make me crumble. It doesn't. It reminds me I have a heart too, and while mine prefers cinnamon rolls to spin bikes, it still knows how to pump strategy through a body that refuses to be minimized. In the morning, the ovens will heat, and the mixers will whir, and the town will come for sweets and stories. I'll be ready with both. The thing about living in a suburb fueled by gossip is that you can chart public opinion as predictably as weather. First there's a whisper, then a drizzle of assumptions, then, before you know it, a storm front of speculation has parked itself right over your bakery window display. By the time Monday rolls around, I'm apparently either leaving Adrian for a younger man, opening a second store in New York, or going through an artistic phase involving edible symbolism. That last theory comes from the book club that once tried to interpret a churro as a metaphor for modern loneliness, so I don't take it personally. Sugar Bloom is packed before 9. The Red Flags pastry line announcement has gone mildly viral, helped along by the fact that Ava apparently posted a vague complaint on social media last night about older women refusing to bow out gracefully. The internet doesn't know who she's talking about, but the town sure does. Someone printed it and taped it on the community board between cat sitter available and guitar lessons for beginners. People are ordering that lemon pastry like it's a political statement, Mia says, boxing up a dozen. I heard someone say they want extra frosting for the receipts. Good, I say. May all our traumas be marketable. She grins. You're in a weirdly good mood. I got 5 hours of sleep and found a new purpose in capitalism, I reply. That's practically enlightenment. By mid-morning, the bell rings and in walks someone I didn't expect. Rob, one of my part-time bakers, a college student with an unshakable belief that croissants are just bread with better posture. He jogs behind the counter, breathless. Sorry I'm late, he says. My roommate borrowed my car without asking, so I had to scooter here. It was not majestic. You're here, I say. That's majestic enough. He ties his apron. So, rumor is your husband is on a losing streak. Rumor is correct, I say, but let's not narrate it like a sports match. I don't want announcers. He nods, respectful. That's what I like about Rob. He has questions, but he asks with the emotional caution of someone approaching a raccoon with a sandwich. Around noon, the inevitable happens. The first reporter shows up. Not a real one. This is still a town where the most pressing headline last year was Council Debates Sidewalk Chalk Regulations, but a hyperactive blogger named Courtney, who runs the local scoop site, Fairfield Unfiltered. Hi, Celeste, she beams, phone already recording. Can I get a comment on the rumored love triangle involving you, your husband, and a Pilates instructor? Absolutely, I say. Here's your comment. Try the cherry pastries. They have layers, like your questions. She blinks. So that's a no. That's a full pastry endorsement, I say, sliding her a box. On the house. We support local journalism. She leaves, half confused, fully sugared. Win-win. At 1, my accountant Paul walks in. He's pale, anxious, and holding a folder like it contains the nuclear codes. We need to talk, he says, and I lead him to the small office in the back, past the racks of proofing dough. He flips open the folder. So, there are transfer patterns from Adrian's accounts labeled as gifts and consultations. They're frequent, not illegal on their own, but questionable. Questionable is a very friendly word, I say. They don't match his declared income, he continues. Also, the apartment lease is tied to a separate expense card. If this goes to court, it won't look good for him. That's unfortunate, I say, stirring honey into my tea. I'll try to locate my sympathy. It's probably behind the espresso filters. Paul doesn't laugh. Accountants rarely do. He clears his throat. If he claims you moved funds unfairly, we can counter with marital dissipation. You're protected. Good, I say. I like that word. Protected. He gathers his papers and leaves. I return to the front just in time to see the second confrontation of the day unfolding. Ava, again, except this time, she's brought back up in the form of a woman in a beige blazer who looks like she eats restraining orders for breakfast. Ava strides up to the counter. You put your hands on me. And yet, here you stand, I say, fully upright. Congratulations on your resilience. This is my lawyer, she declares, gesturing to the beige blazer. We're considering a report for harassment. I nod. As is your right, please let her know the security footage is available upon request. It shows you attempting to vandalize property first. That footage also has audio, so if she'd like to hear what you said before I responded, she may enjoy the narrative arc. Ava's lawyer frowns. You have recorded footage? Yes, I say, mounted legally, placard posted. High resolution too, good lighting. Makes everyone look honest or guilty depending on the day. Ava's face tightens. You think you've got everything under control? No, I say, calm. Just my space. Yours is not my concern. They leave without pastries, which is a shame. Lemon does wonders for bitterness. At 3, the rush dies down. I finally sit in the corner booth with a late lunch, which is really just a slice of quiche and a moment of solitude. I'm halfway through it when the bell rings, and a group of teenagers walk in, one of them wearing a t-shirt that says, "Trust issues but make it pastry." I make a mental note to add merch to the business plan. Crisis branding is real. By 4, the bakery feels like a shaken soda can, still sealed, but bubbling underneath. Even the air holds that charged hum, like the town is waiting for Act 2 of a show it didn't pay admission for. I wipe the counter, refill napkins, and try to exhale the tension that keeps landing in my stomach like a paperweight. At 5, I hear the sound I've been half expecting and half dreading. The sharp click of heels belonging to Adrian's sister, Denise. Again. She appears in the doorway like a villain in a suburban musical, clutching a designer purse that likely costs more than my rent used to. We need to have a rational discussion, she says, striding up to me. You first, I say. Please define rational. You're ruining his life. No, I say. I'm just refusing to decorate it anymore. She inhales sharply. Do you understand how humiliating this is for our family? Yes, I say. Do you? She opens her purse, pulls out an envelope and slides it across the counter. Adrian wants to settle this quietly. Sign this. No lawsuits. No public commentary. You get a payout. The bakery keeps running. Everyone goes their separate ways. I glance at the envelope but don't touch it. Did he write it before or after I iced his reputation? You could walk away with a clean break. Why choose conflict? I didn't choose conflict, I say. I just stopped cushioning him from the one he created. Her eyes narrow. You're not the wounded angel here, Celeste. You're vindictive. I'm informed, I correct. She leans in. If you don't sign, things will escalate. Denise, I say, leaning in as well. I bake for a living. I know exactly how long heat needs to rise before it burns. I'm comfortable at any temperature. She recoils, stunned. I'm not sure if it's the words or the tone that gets her, but she snaps the envelope shut and storms out, her heels clicking like angry punctuation marks. The bell rings behind her, a fragile sound that doesn't match her exit. Mia silently appears at my elbow. Want me to throw that envelope into the compost? Tempting, I say. But no, let it sit. Paper ages too. It's nearly closing time when the last customer leaves and the bakery goes still. I wipe the counters in long, even strokes, letting the quiet settle like flour dust. That's when I hear a tap on the glass and look up to see Adrian outside, hands in pockets, eyes shadowed. Of course. I unlock the door but don't step aside. Store's closed. We need to talk, he says. You've used that line before, I say. It didn't improve with repetition. He walks in anyway. Ava says you struck her. She tried to damage property. I redirected the energy, lightly. You humiliated her. She entered a bakery to escalate conflict. That was her first mistake. He runs a hand over his face. I don't know who you're becoming. I do, I say. Someone who stopped proofreading your excuses. He sighs, that long exhale of a man who expected surrender and found paperwork instead. I'm losing everything. No, I say. You're losing everything you used to hide behind. That's different. We stand there, surrounded by pastry cases and unspoken history. He looks at me like he's searching for the version of me that used to make him feel safe. I look at him and see a stranger wearing the same face. He tries one last tactic. Can we fix this? Fixing, I say softly, requires two people holding the same broken thing. You've been holding someone else. He flinches, not dramatically, just truthfully. There's no anger left in me at this point, only clarity. Please leave, I say. This is my workspace, and I like it peaceful. He nods once, slow and small, then turns and walks out. No slammed doors, no parting insults. Just a man who thought he'd win by default, realizing the rules changed without him. I lock the door behind him, turn off the lights, and take one last look at the bakery, my sanctuary, my stage, my war room. The glass cases shine, the ovens hum in sleep mode, the world outside keeps spinning. I wipe a smudge on the counter with one fingertip and feel something rare and valuable. Not triumph, not relief, but control. Tomorrow there will be more rumors, more confrontations, possibly even more envelopes full of legal persuasion. But tonight I have quiet and tea, and the knowledge that I can absorb chaos and still frost pastries with precision. I head upstairs to the loft, tie my hair up, and sit cross-legged with my laptop. I open a fresh document and start drafting new menu names. Petty profiterole, alimony apple tart, quiet consequence cheesecake. I laugh once. Small, real. Let the town talk. I'll feed them something worth chewing on. By Wednesday morning, the bakery smells like cinnamon, espresso, and quiet tension, the kind that sticks to the walls like steam and waits for the right moment to condense into something more dramatic. The Red Flags pastry line has officially sold out 3 days in a row, and while I'm grateful for the financial cushion, I'm also fully aware that success this sudden is just sugar-frosted fallout from a scandal the town is treating like prime entertainment. And then there's Adrian, who has now graduated from mildly frantic to professionally unraveling. Word has spread that he's been placed on administrative review at work, though no one will say why, which is adorable, considering half the rumors about us are being traded at the same coffee stations located inside that very office. At 9 a.m., I'm in the back finishing pastry prep when Mia pokes her head through the door like she's delivering a coded message from a spy network made entirely of baristas. He's here, she whispers. Which he? The one with a suit and a storm cloud. I wipe my hands on my apron and head out front. Adrian is standing inside the bakery, and for the first time in a long time, he doesn't look curated, just frantic in a carefully ironed shirt. We need to talk privately, he says. Privately implies mutual invitation, I say, which I'm not offering. He glances at the other customers, 3 regulars and a teenager eating a croissant like it's popcorn. Can we at least step outside? Fine. I turn to Mia. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, sell my portion of the business to the highest bidder and rename the store Petty & Co. The teenager snorts. Adrian does not. Outside, he runs a hand through his hair. My supervisor wants to meet with me today. They got an anonymous package with documents, internal expense forms, apartment lease copies, things that could look like fraud if interpreted wrong. I raise an eyebrow. Fraud is a strong word. I prefer creative bookkeeping. This isn't funny. It's not a joke, I say. You built a second life with shared funds. The accountant simply noticed what the IRS eventually would. He steps closer. Did you send it? I meet his eyes. Yes. For a second, he's silent, just processing the idea that someone once known for piping buttercream roses has now weaponized paperwork. You're trying to ruin me. No, I say. I'm refusing to hold the tarp over your mess. Gravity is doing the rest. You don't get it, he says. If I lose my job, everything collapses. The house, the insurance, our savings. Our savings were already redirected, I correct, on purpose. You're unbelievable. I used to be predictable. You preferred that. He stares, and for the first time, I see not anger, not charm, but fear. The real kind, the kind people feel when consequences arrive, dressed in receipts. Please, he says, quieter now. Help me fix this. Fixing, I say, requires honesty. You haven't used that ingredient in a long time. And you have? Yes, I say. I've used it so much it's become an acquired taste. He drags a hand down his face. You're not even listening to how harsh you sound. I'm listening, I just don't owe you softness. His expression shudders. You'll regret this. There it is, I say. Threats disguised as wisdom. Classic Adrian. He turns and walks away, not in a dramatic storm, like last time, but slowly, like a man who is not used to the earth tilting away from his advantage. I go back inside, switch the open sign back on, and serve pastries to a line of people who don't know whether to offer sympathy or take notes. By the afternoon downtime, I'm in the office reviewing supply orders when my eye catches a strange detail. 2 business loan applications on Adrian's old desktop folder. Both denied. Both dated before the affair. Both kept secret. That's when something clicks. Not just betrayal, motive, pressure. One of the applications is labeled Bakery Expansion, Joint Venture Proposal. Denied. He was planning to borrow against my business. The cheating wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. I sit back in my chair, the truth settling in like a weight that was always there, just unacknowledged. He didn't just want out of the marriage, he wanted in on the bakery. I need air. I grab my jacket and drive to Adrian's office building, an aggressively modern space with glass walls that probably cost more than the building's actual employees. I use the spare keycard he gave me 2 anniversaries ago, when he still thought shared access was romantic. Inside, the office is a cathedral of quiet stress. Muted carpet, whispered calls, employees trying not to look like news just happened. I head straight to his office. His door is unlocked, his computer screen is lit, and on it is a folder labeled Contingency Plan. I click. Inside, screenshots of my bakery sales ledger, projected valuations, and notes about possible buyout routes. My name is in a bullet list under Negotiation Leverage. There's also a document titled, If Bakery Partnership Fails, Option Ava Investment. I don't get to read more because the office door swings open. Adrian stands there, coat half on, eyes wide. What are you doing? Discovering, I say. It's very enlightening. You can't just walk in here. And yet, I gesture to the room. Here I am, like an unclaimed asset. He moves toward the desk, but I step between him and the computer. You tried to put my business on your balance sheet, I say, even before you met her. It was just planning. No, I say, it was preparation. You were setting the stage before the show even started. He looks cornered now, like a man realizing he's not the chess master, just someone who forgot the queen can move in any direction. You need to leave, he says. I will, I say, after I send this folder somewhere safer. You wouldn't. You used to say that about a lot of things I do now. I forward the files to myself, to Paul, and, because I'm feeling particularly instructional, to his supervisor's public inbox. Then I unplug the screen and step back. You can have your office, I say, but the truth is, now a shared document. He slams the laptop shut, but it's too late. His face is the exact shade of someone who just watched the last rope snap. I leave before he says anything else. I don't need to hear it. I've finally translated his language. Outside, the sun is setting in that dramatic way suburban skies do when they're trying to look cinematic. I reach my car, unlock it, and as I open the door, a black sedan swings in fast behind me, blocking the exit. Adrian's car. Of course. He gets out furious, his voice raised just enough to echo off the building. You crossed a line. No, I say. I found yours. He paces. You went into my office. You stole files. You're out of control. Out of your control, I correct. He stops pacing. I could destroy you legally. You tried financially first, I say. I just responded in kind. He steps closer, and for a split second I tense, but then I notice something. A security guard, leaning on the building pillar, arms folded, clearly watching. I meet the guard's eyes, then Adrian's. You should go, I say, before you add one more unpaid audience member to your crisis. He looks at the guard, at me, then back at the guard, and decides retreat is better than headlines. He gets into his car, reverses too fast, and peels out of the lot. I exhale. My hands shake, not from fear, but from the intensity of holding the wheel this tightly while the ride keeps tilting. When I get back to the bakery, night has fallen. I go upstairs to the loft, sit on the couch and replay everything. His panic, the files, the truth behind the cheating. It wasn't romance. It was leverage. He didn't want love. He wanted ownership. Now he has neither. My phone buzzes. A message from Paul. Got the new documents. This changes the asset division. Call tomorrow. Another from Mia. There's a guy outside the bakery taking photos of the window. Not sure if customer or clown. Should I chase him off with a whisk? I reply, if he looks like a lawsuit, start with a spatula. I laugh, but it comes out tired. Not weak, just stretched. Then I stand, walk downstairs and grab the chalk marker again. On the front window, in large looping letters, I write, Sugar Bloom Bakery, owned, operated, and defended by Celeste Harper. Underneath, smaller, we serve pastries, not apologies. I cap the marker, step back, and smile. Then I lock the door. Tomorrow will not be calmer, but I am no longer a supporting character in his strategy. I'm the plot twist he didn't calculate. By Friday morning, I have officially become a walking plot twist in a zip-up bakery hoodie. The town has chosen sides. The rumor flame has turned into a bonfire, and Sugar Bloom is selling pastries faster than I can frost them. Turns out nothing drives sales like scandal with a glaze finish. Mia keeps a running tally on the whiteboard near the register. Red flags sold today, 187. Underneath she wrote, drama pairs well with carbs. She's not wrong. Around 11, the bakery doors swing open, and in strolls, Denise, dressed like she's running for office in a district made entirely of pearl necklaces and emotional repression. This time she's not alone. 2 PTA moms trail behind her like backup dancers without rhythm. Celeste, she says, voice tight enough to slice through fondant. We need to discuss the fundraiser. Oh, right. The school charity gala. The one I agreed to cater months ago when my life was still held together by blind trust and sourdough. What happened to the regular catering company? I ask. They stepped back due to reputational discomfort, she says, staring at me like I'm a lemon tart left too long in the sun. Interesting, I say, especially since their reputation was spotless until one PTA husband got caught playing real estate with someone else's ring finger. One of the PTA moms chokes on her breath. Denise doesn't blink. The board decided your involvement is still acceptable, she says, but there will be cameras. and donors, and important families, so I highly suggest no theatrics. Oh, I don't do theatrics, I say. I do clarity, with piping bags. Her jaw tightens. Just stay quiet, serve the pastries, be neutral. Neutrality is what got this town into therapy, I say, but I'll behave, mostly. She sighs, gathers her entourage and leaves. The bell jingles behind her with all the enthusiasm of a sitcom laugh track. Mia appears behind me, holding a piping bag like a mic. You're going to behave? I will behave, I say, the way a well-dressed storm behaves. She nods. So, minimum damage, maximum show. Exactly. The rest of the morning moves in steady rhythm until a delivery driver pops in with a clipboard. Harper, got a package for you. Says urgent. I sign for it and open the box. Inside, a folded legal notice and a letter on expensive stationery. Adrian's handwriting. The letter is short, neat, and hilariously self-important. You've taken this too far. Sign the settlement or things escalate. A. No greeting, no apology, not even fake sentiment. Just a threat with good margins. I crumple the letter, toss it into the trash, and fish out the legal notice. A drafted petition, request for injunction to freeze bakery assets. Not official yet, but drafted. That's when I realize something. Adrian is backed into a corner, and his new strategy is to drag my livelihood into the mud with him. Which means I need a counterstrike, clean, undeniable, public. Luckily, tonight's charity gala is the perfect battlefield. The gala is held in the community centre, which has been aggressively disguised by fairy lights, rented drapery, and volunteers who think string cheese counts as decor. The place smells like perfume and suppressed resentment. When I arrive with 6 trays of red flags pastries, every head swivels. People pretend not to look, but the air vibrates with unsaid questions. Did she really move 40 grand? Is Adrian actually under review? Do the pastries taste like revenge? I smile, set the trays on the catering table, and start arranging them with a precision normally reserved for bomb squads. 20 minutes later, the room is packed. Adrian enters with Denise on one side and, because the universe enjoys comedic timing, Ava on the other, wearing a sleek red dress and the confidence of someone who still thinks she's winning. They see me. Adrian's expression flickers between irritation and panic. Ava's lips curve in a smile meant to convey triumph. It looks more like dental tension, but I ignore them. Instead, I step onto the small stage where the mic is set for the charity announcement. The event host nods, assuming I'm there to talk about pastries. He is wrong. Good evening, I say, voice calm, measured. Before dessert, a quick note from the bakery that donated tonight's pastries. You'll notice each pastry is named after a common warning sign ignored in long relationships. This was not accidental. The room leans in. For example, I lift a tray. This one is cherry gaslight. Layers of sweetness designed to distract you from the sour core. Soft laughter. Uneasy but hooked. And this one, I lift another, is vanilla boundary. It collapses when tested too many times. Even louder laughter now. Some applause. Denise looks like she's trying to swallow a hot staple. And this, I hold the lemon one, is lemon receipt, made with extra zest, because sometimes the only way to protect what's yours is to document everything. A wave of murmurs ripples through the crowd. People know, people talk, people love a metaphor, they can screenshot later. I set the tray down and finish. All pastries tonight are free. If you want seconds, just remember, ignoring the signs is usually more expensive. The applause is instant and honest. Someone whistles. A few people say, "Oh my God," the way people do when truth lands with sprinkles. I step down, feeling oddly still, but Adrian doesn't let it rest. Of course. He approaches the table, voice low, jaw tight. That was unnecessary. No, I say. It was educational. You think humiliating me in front of donors will help you? I think humiliating yourself in private didn't stop you, I say. So I upgraded the venue. He steps closer. If you keep this up, I'll come after your bakery. You already did, I say evenly. You just didn't expect me to be ready. For a moment, his facade slips. His eyes harden. Not with anger, but with calculation. That's when I know he's not done. And neither am I, because Ava suddenly appears beside us, clutching her tiny red purse and wearing a look that suggests she's about to perform emotional gymnastics. You must feel powerful, she says, but none of this changes the fact that he chose me. Oh, I know he chose you, I say. I just hope you kept the receipt. Her smile falters. And since we're being honest, I add, I also know he was running loan applications behind my back before you even existed in the picture. So if you think you're the reason his life is collapsing, please don't flatter yourself. You're just a subplot. She goes rigid. Adrian steps in. Enough. No, I say. Finally, enough. That's when Denise storms over, red-faced, clutching a wine glass like she intends to christen a ship or break one. You're out of control, she hisses. Do you know how many people are watching? Yes, I say, and I hope they take notes. You've gone rabid. I've gone factual. You're destroying his career. He did that, I say. I just put a pastry label on it. Before she can respond, the event host returns to the mic and announces the silent auction results. The room shifts focus. Conversations scatter. The tension dissolves into the buzzing ambient noise of social survival. I step away from all three of them, head toward the restroom hallway, and take out my phone. There's a new message from Paul. Just confirmed. They're filing against Adrian for financial misconduct. You'll be protected. Call in the morning. I inhale, slow. The storm is landing, but I'm not the one getting soaked. When I return, the red flag's table is empty. Every pastry gone, every metaphor digested. Someone even stole the display card. As I gather the empty trays, one of the PTA moms walks over. Celeste, she says softly, I just wanted you to know. Everyone's talking, yes, but most people aren't judging you. They're watching, and they're cheering quietly. I nod, not because I need validation, but because it's nice to hear truth without frosting. Outside, I load the trays into my car and slip behind the wheel. It's late. The streetlights hum. The night is still. In the rearview mirror, I catch a glimpse of myself, not wrecked, not rage-filled, just steady. The kind of steady that comes after you stop defending a house that was already on fire and start building your own, brick by brick, bakery by bakery. A notification pings, a message from an unknown number. You think you've won. You haven't. I stare at it, smile once and reply. Adrian, if you're going to text threats, at least change the number first. It ruins the illusion. Then I block the contact. Not the man, just the noise. Tomorrow I'll wake up, put on flower-streaked clothes, and bake pastries like nothing exploded. Because life doesn't pause for drama. Bills still arrive, ovens still preheat, dough still proves. But tonight, I drive home with the quiet satisfaction of someone who learned the recipe for reclaiming power. One part, truth. One part, timing. One part, refusal to shrink mix well. Serve cold or warm. But always, always, serve it yourself. Saturday morning arrives like a drumroll I didn't request. The sky's too bright, the town too quiet, and I can feel that specific kind of stillness that usually comes right before something flips over and catches fire. Not literally, because that would at least come with insurance paperwork, but in the metaphorical sense that suburbia absolutely feeds on. Sugar Bloom opens at 8, but when I pull up at 7:30, there's already a small crowd forming outside. Not a line for pastries. No, this is a line for spectacle. People clutching iced lattes from other cafes, pretending they just happened to be walking by. I unlock the door, flip the sign, and they flood in like it's Black Friday for cinnamon rolls. Mia greets me from behind the counter. "Morning, boss, you're trending again." "Oh, good," I say. I always wanted to be famous for pastry-based vengeance. She pulls out her phone and shows me a local Facebook post titled, "That bakery wife is a legend," with 2,000 likes and a comment section so active it might need its own paramedic. "Someone turned your speech from the gala into a quote graphic," she says. "It's got daisies and a lemon tart on it. Very aesthetic." I sigh. At least they picked the flattering pastry. By 9, the bakery is standing room only. The air smells like icing and curiosity. Everyone wants to order something, ask something, imply something. Even the mailman lingers too long, looking at me like I'm the latest true crime podcast episode. Around 10, a hush falls over the room, the kind that happens when the villain enters a courtroom in a legal drama. I don't need to look up to know who it is. The air tightens. A few phones quietly lift in recording mode. Adrian. He steps forward in a charcoal suit, looking tired but polished. The kind of polished that's really just panic-smoothed flat. "Celeste," he says, voice firm, like we're about to negotiate a merger instead of a divorce. "Customer line starts at the register," I reply. "Pastries first, tension second." He ignores that. "We need to talk." "Again," I say. "You really should consider booking these as appointments. My calendar app would appreciate it." He steps closer. "Stop joking. This is serious." "I've noticed," I say. "You keep showing up like a man whose life is an unplugged appliance." He exhales hard but doesn't break eye contact. "You sent those documents to my supervisor. I've been suspended." "Not because of me," I say. "Because of your actions that came with attachments and timestamps." "You don't understand," he says. "This was my career. My life. And I was supposed to what? Bake around your schemes like they were seasonal specials? You're destroying the one steady thing I had left." "You destroyed it first," I say. "I just refuse to keep the ruins quiet." He looks around. People are staring, not even pretending not to. Adrian hates exposure. He's always preferred quiet manipulation over loud accountability. He leans in, voice lower. "You want revenge? Fine, you've had your fun. But now you're going to pull back. You're going to tell them you exaggerated, that it was emotional turmoil, that it got out of hand." I blink. "You want me to go public and call myself unstable so your reputation can recover?" "Yes," he says, as if the logic is self-evident. I laugh, quiet, sharp. "You really do think the world is your PR department?" He stiffens. "I'm trying to salvage my life." "You mean the version of your life where truth is optional and consequences are someone else's chore?" "No," he says. "The version where I still have something to stand on." "And you came here thinking I'd hand you a ladder?" He grabs my arm. Not violently, just firmly. But the contact alone shocks the room into silence. That's when someone drops a spoon. That tiny metal clink might as well be a warning siren. I look down at his hand. "Let go," I say, not loud, but clear enough to carry. He releases instantly, realizing what every pair of eyes in this room just witnessed. Good. I lean in slightly. "If you think you can intimidate me in a building with cameras, witnesses, and pastries named after your character flaws, then you're not just desperate, you're tragic." His jaw works, like he's grinding down a retort he can't afford to say. "You're enjoying this," he says. I pretend to think. "No, enjoyment is a hammock on a beach. This is more like a workout. Not fun, but satisfying when you finally feel the muscle form." He backs up one step. "This isn't over." "Oh, I hope not," I say. "I've already got a part 2 pastry line planned." Laughter ripples through the room. Quiet, restrained, but there. Adrian looks around, sees how much of the room is no longer socially neutral. He straightens his tie, turns, and walks out. I watch him go, not with triumph, not with relief, just with the understanding that I am, finally, not the one reacting. I'm initiating, directing, choosing. The door closes behind him, and the bakery slowly exhales. Mia leans over the counter. That was wild. Yeah, I say, tying my apron tighter. But now we work. Drama doesn't pay rent. Cupcakes do. She nods. Should we rename one of the pastries Frozen Assets? Put it on the list, I say. The afternoon rolls on, steady and loud. The world keeps turning the way it always does when you expect everything to pause. Pastries sell. Kids ask for extra sprinkles. Someone's latte art looks like a sad cloud, and they take a photo anyway. Real life refuses to be overshadowed. Around 3, Paul calls. Update, he says. The company is opening a full investigation into Adrian's accounts. Also, the injunction he tried to file. The judge rejected it. They saw the apartment lease and flagged him for asset concealment instead. Translation, I ask. You're safe, legally, financially, and, frankly, strategically. I nod, staring out the window at the bright, ordinary street. Thank you. One more thing, Paul says. His lawyer called me. They want to schedule a final settlement meeting, not mediation, not negotiation, just signing. I sit with that for a second. So he's done fighting? He's out of moves, Paul says, or out of funds to fuel them. We hang up. I stand still for a moment, letting that settle in my chest, not like a balloon, not like a collapse, just a quiet weight being lifted. He's cornered, and I'm free. By early evening, the bakery empties. The quiet returns, not the charged kind, but the kind that exists after the storm finally leaves the sky alone. I wipe the counters, sweep the floor, stack the chairs. Every mundane task feels heavier and lighter at the same time, like I'm lifting something that doesn't belong to me anymore. I'm almost finished when headlights sweep across the windows. A car stops, door opens, footsteps approach. Not Adrian. I know that before the bell even jingles. It's Ava. She steps inside, alone, wrapped in a coat too thin for the weather, eyes sharp but unfocused, as if she came prepared for battle and found herself instead. Before you ask, I say, the kitchen knives are all clean and stored. No dramatic chopping scene available. She doesn't smile. She walks to the counter, rests her hands on it, and speaks with a voice that, shockingly, has no arrogance left. He told me everything. Unlikely, I say. He doesn't even tell himself everything. She shakes her head. No, not about us. About the loans. About how he tried to use your business. About how he thought I'd help him recover if you burned him alive. I wait. No offer of sympathy. No invitation to continue. Just space. She inhales. I thought I was the exception, the one he'd choose, the one who wouldn't lose. Classic mistake, I say. Men like him don't pick people. They pick functions. For the first time, her face cracks. Not in a fragile way, but in a way that reveals she has finally seen the blueprint she was standing on. I didn't come here to apologize, she says. I came here because I wanted you to know I'm out. I'm done. Good, I say. Walk early. Some women stay until the ceiling falls. She nods once, turns to go, then pauses. You didn't destroy him, she says, looking over her shoulder. You just stopped protecting him from the damage he caused. Correct, I say. That's the entire plot. She leaves. No dramatic exit, no final insult, just a quiet surrender of someone who finally checked the scoreboard. I lock the door after her. For a moment, I just stand there, alone in the bakery, surrounded by clean counters and faint sugar scent, like a stage after the lights go down, and I feel it. Not victory, not relief, just something close to arrival. Not the end of the story, just the end of the fight. 2 hours later, I'm upstairs, barefoot, tea in hand, staring out the loft window at the streetlights. The settlement will finalize. Assets will divide. Lawyers will click pens. But what matters is this. I still have my business, my peace, my name, and my narrative. The world always expects the scorned woman to burn herself down, trying to prove she mattered. I didn't burn. I baked. I calculated. I waited. I struck. Not to destroy, but to reclaim. That's the story. No epilogue. No soft fade out. Just this final moment. I close the curtains. And the chapter ends.